have followed the religion of my fathers, Ibrahim, Ishaq, and Yaqub, and it was not for us to associate anything with Allah. That is from the favor of Allah upon us and upon the people. But most of the people are not grateful. He said, O my two companions of prison, are separate lords better or Allah? The one, the prevailing, Al-Wahid Al-Qahhar. You worship not besides Him except mere names, and you have named them, you and your forefathers, for which Allah has sent down no authority. Legislation is not but for Allah. He has commanded that you worship not except Him. That is the correct religion, but most of the people do not know. You see, this is sabr and shukr, that even in the prison he is doing da'wah. He's calling people to Allah. When things are against his wishes, still he's doing what he can do. Things are not perfect, but he's doing what he can do. He doesn't seem frustrated, he doesn't seem depressed, he doesn't seem angry and vengeful. He was innocent, and he's in prison. But how does he spend his time? With patience, with good akhlaq, and when people come to him because they trust him, what does he do? He does da'wah to them. How? Briefly, but with proofs. And what is it that he called them to? Tawheed. And this shows to us that this message of Tawheed is something that is of most importance. O two companions of prison, as for one of you, he will give drink to his master of wine, but as for the other, he will be crucified, and the birds will eat from his head. The matter has been decreed, about which you both inquire. So he told them the interpretation of their dreams. And he said to the one whom he knew would go free, mention me before your master. But shaitan made him forget the mention to his master, and Yusuf remained in prison for several years. Because the two men who came for their dreams, one of them, his interpretation was that, the interpretation that he gave him was that you will become free and you will serve wine to your master, meaning the king. So when you do that, when you go, when you're free, and when you're with the king, mention me. Meaning tell him that I'm an innocent man who's trapped in the prison. And I have no family here who will come and fight for me. So do something about me. But what happened? This man, when he left, he got so happy and lost in his world that he forgot about Yusuf a.s. So Yusuf a.s. now stayed in the prison for several more years. Now this happens also. That you do good to someone, but they don't even turn back and say a word of acknowledgement or gratitude. Because if this man was truly grateful to Yusuf a.s. for the interpretation that he gave him, he would have remembered him. And if he remembered him, he would have at least mentioned him to the king. But he didn't. It's like he asked for a favor and then he completely forgot about it. Completely overlooked it. And this happens in life. But who is a muhsin? The one who keeps doing ihsan, even if people don't remember. Now the following ayat are about the dream of the king, and then what happens as a result of that. وَقَالَ الْمَلِكُ إِنِّي أَرَى سَبْعَ بَقَرَاتٍ سِمَانٍ. And the king said, indeed, I have seen in a dream 7 fat cows being eaten by 7 that were lean, and 7 green spikes of grain and others that were dry. O eminent ones, explain to me my dream, if you should interpret dreams. We learned about Yusuf a.s. that how when he ended up in prison, 2 people came to him asking him the interpretation of their dreams. And they showed their trust in him and they said that we see you as a muhsin. And the fact is that when a person is good in their nature, in their behavior, and they are observing patience and they're grateful, then even in the most difficult circumstances, they are recognized as muhsin. Trust them. So we see that Yusuf a.s. in the prison, 2 men approached him, asking him the interpretation of their dreams. And Yusuf a.s., he told them the interpretation. And one of them, the interpretation of whose dream was that he will go and serve the king. Yusuf a.s. asked him that when you go, then make sure that you mention me to your master. But what happened? That man, he completely forgot. And then what happened? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought about such circumstances in which the king himself needed Yusuf a.s. You know, it's amazing. Each time someone does not recognize the worth of Yusuf a.s., Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala creates circumstances in which his worth is exposed, it is established. There were people who sold Yusuf a.s. for just a few dirham. And what happened? The man who purchased him, he said to his wife that perhaps we can adopt him as a child. Likewise, Yusuf a.s. is sent into the prison, accused of a crime that he never committed, and there are people coming there and saying that we see you as a muhsin. And now again, for the third time we see in his life that how, when Yusuf a.s., he needs help, what happens? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He makes the king have a dream. When that man forgot to return the favor of Yusuf a.s., he perhaps didn't give much attention. What happened? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He exposed the true worth of Yusuf a.s. So the king had a dream, and this dream was also very strange. Because he sees in his dream 7 lean cows eating up 7 fat cows. And generally, it's the other way around. The one who is stronger, the one who is more powerful, they destroy the one who is weaker. But in this dream, the exact opposite was happening. So, the king wanted the interpretation, and he asked his people to give him the interpretation.